Yack.
You're listening to Yack. Yack is the official podcast of the AAF Greater Lehigh Valley Ad Club. Our mission is to inspire creativity and enhance the professional development of the advertising and marketing communities where we live and work. I'm your host, Bill Childs, and I'll talk with artists, designers, writers, directors, photographers, along with those who work in a creative capacity. Our aim here is to serve as a creative resource to help you stay informed, entertained, and above all, inspired. But first, I want to thank ASR Media. We appreciate your support and collaboration. Welcome back to Yack. Now, I've always believed that the way we show up to present in a meeting is the message. Not the slides, not the bullet points, not the perfectly formatted deck we spent 3 weeks obsessing over. Our energy is the message. Because people don't remember what you said, they remember how you made them feel when you said it. And if your energy is off, no amount of beautiful typography will save you. Which is why I reached out to Ben Levy, presentation coach, communication expert, and author of Stop Reading Slides, How to Nail Creative Presentations and Sell Your Best Ideas. Ben spent years helping industry leaders, advertising teams, and creatives move beyond information and connect with the human beings in the room. We talk about why so much communication fails, not because the ideas are bad, but because we've forgotten how to deliver them as actual human beings. We get into attention, authenticity, creative confidence, and why so many of us use our slides as a shield instead of a bridge to the people we're trying to reach. This conversation is genuinely funny, honest, and truly inspiring, because becoming a better presenter has less to do with performance and more to do with connection. So if you want your ideas to connect, not just exist, this one's for you. Here is my Yack with Ben Levy. This is such an awesome book, man. Stop reading slides. I mean,
Thank you.
I dove into it. I think I read it in like 2 nights. Just powered right through it. So let me ask you this: what was the genesis of you wanting to write this book?
It was the desire to codify, to a certain extent, everything that I'd been doing for 5 years. So a lot of people will say, oh, you should write a book if you're going to be consulting or going to get or whatever it is you're doing. Write a book. And I resisted it for a long time because, number one, I knew how much work that was, and I'm lazy. And number two, I wanted to make sure that before I put something out that felt that concrete, it had been pressure tested in a big enough number of agencies and organizations. So I figured for the 5-year anniversary of Sell It Great, I was gonna put the book out, and that became Stop Reading Slides.
Nice. Well, we actually have a mutual friend, Cameron Day.
We do.
Very
I
speaks very highly of you.
will not. Cam is wonderful. I will never approach the level of prolificness that he has right now. I mean, I think he's 5 books in as we sit here and talk.
Mm-hmm.
It's really and I've enjoyed, if anybody's listening and has not checked out his books, I enjoy them, even if you're not in advertising. The storytelling is phenomenal. The stories are phenomenal. But I almost died trying to meet you the first time, actually, because you and Cam showed up in person, and he had asked me, since we're not too far away geographically, hey, would you come introduce me? Which I thought was great. And then I got in a fight with a truck on the way there and lost. So I never made it to that particular meeting.
That was a crazy story because the ad club president came to me and said, hey, you interviewed Cam on the podcast, like you kind of have a little bit of a relationship with him now. Do you want to introduce him? And I was like, sure. Yeah. And I didn't really know what I was going to say, but I knew it wasn't going to be run of the mill. Right. So then 5 minutes later, same person comes back and says, oh, no. There's someone coming from Ben Levy. I was like, oh, yeah. And again, I was just kind of like, oh, okay. I was just happy to be at Cam's presentation, getting to see, because Shy Day is my favorite agency, right? So, and I just was like excited. And then I was up and I just stood up I went up to the podium and it hit me why I always learned the think different copy from start to end. Like I always have that in my head. It's like something that I do. It's like a tick where like I
Mhm.
here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, right?
Yeah,
And it just clicked. It was like, oh my God, do this because you're talking to the audience that's there. You're talking to him and you're honoring Shia Day. So it was just like universe was like, you got to do this. And that's how we introduced them. And then instead of
that's
saying we
awesome.
see genius, I said I see genius. So I did change it a little bit. And he gets up there and he goes, don't ever do that to me again. I think I got him. I moved him, you know. I got yeah, it was just the perfect intro. But he's just a cool dude. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Cam is phenomenal. And I think one of the things that I've been very fortunate to experience the last 5 or 6 years is that doing what I do, going around and trying to help people present and be more comfortable selling their ideas in the room,
Mhm.
I've had the opportunity to really see some of the best in advertising. And I mean that in terms of human humanity.
Right, right.
Great ideas, absolutely. I've seen those too. But we know that this can be a toxic industry at times,
Mhm.
but those are not the people who call me. And so I really am privileged to run into people like Cam, people who, if you ask them a question, they won't just toss off an answer or tell you where to go find it. They'll tell you, come have a drink with them,
Yep.
sit down, give of themselves to you. He is very much that person. I was lucky enough coming up in my career to run into people like that. And so I've tried to follow that same model whenever I can.
They're out there. They are out there. You got to really look
Yeah,
for them though.
yeah,
Especially in this. I mean, I did 40 years in advertising and marketing, so a lot of ego in this bit, a lot of ego, unnecessary ego
yeah.
at times, you know, really,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
I I was I was a mid-level writer and I was working at Strawberry Frog. I think it was my third day in New York. It was a big deal for me. It felt like the biggest agency that I'd been to at that point. I was very excited. And my wife is a pediatrician. And I remember getting a text from her that said, baby turned blue or baby turned purple. I turned it back normal color. And I looked at that text and I went, uh, I wrote a coupon ad for middle-aged women who want to buy bleach. Like, why is there any ego in this industry? We are not, because you're out there literally saving babies. That was your morning. And I'm over here trying to figure out why somebody should buy Tide instead of whatever the competition is.
Yeah, keep it in
It's,
perspective.
it's a tremendous amount of ego that you get into here. Yeah, yeah. And it doesn't help, I think, that this really is a cool job. It is a really, really cool job. And you'll run into people who I think, on balance, are so much more important than you. Again, my wife's a doctor. We'd go to doctor holiday parties. This is somebody who does heart surgery and oh, you're in advertising? Have you seen the one where have you ever done what brands have you worked for? What
Mhm.
celebrities do you know? It's like, why are you asking? This
Mhm.
is all wrong.
It's all wrong.
But there's something about this, right? The crazy experiences both that we have and that we get to create for other people.
Yeah.
It'll run away with you if you're not careful.
You know what,
And
Ben?
we see it.
What I have found though, what I have found in my experiences, um, the people that and they could be at the top of the top, you know, agency presidents, CEOs, the ones that are confident with who they are, they're confident with their skills. They're willing to give back. They're willing to sit with you and share. It's the ones that maybe don't feel
Yes.
as comfortable in their own skin that'll give you the pushback. That'll be like, "Hey kid, take a hike. I don't got time for you. Do you know who I am? Do you know what I do?" Like the self-important kind of. So I, I like those people
Yeah.
that want to invite you in and say, "Hey, let's talk about the craft. Let's talk about, you know, creativity. Where are you from?" Like they really genuinely mean it. And Cam is like that, you know,
Yeah.
for me. And I met
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
I met a couple others in the industry. I remember I met Rich Stoddard, the CEO of Leo Burnett, at the one National Addy Awards. He was a really
Yeah.
cool dude too. But what's been your experience with
I
things like that?
I think you nailed it, that it's when it's people who are obsessed with ego and people who for whom that ego is very fragile,
Mm,
they see talent around them as a threat
mm,
versus those people who feel like this is as much as I have figured this industry out, I'm confident in it, and they're willing to lend that hand and surround themselves with people better than they are. It's a thing we say all the time, but that's not actually easy to do for a lot of people. And
right.
I think that one of the things that it's become very common to talk about now is the ageism in the industry. But a side effect of that is that there are so many people who are, relatively speaking, so young in mentor and leadership positions.
Hmm.
It's babies teaching babies.
Mm,
And I'm not that old,
mm,
but I've seen this where somebody has one great campaign. They're a creative director. Well,
mm,
as a creative director, what has to happen now? Yesterday, all you had to do was write well or art direct well.
hmm.
Today, you also have to manage. You also have to understand budgets. You also have to deal with the stress of those things. You need to be able to give to critique people without breaking them
Yep.
and hoping that they will follow you afterwards and be inspired. You need to figure out how to manage up, down, sideways, work with other departments. None of these are things that you have practice for. And the people that you've seen do that before you probably got to that position in similar situations that you did. So it's not like they, for the most part, had fantastic teachers and mentors either. And so we have people who are less, I won't even say less skilled. I'll say these are people who only learned by doing,
Mm,
and experience is a very uneven teacher. You have people who only learned by doing, teaching other people who are only learning by doing, and you're losing things as you go down the ladder that way. And you give it a decade and start to realize, oh, nobody here has ever even experienced a good boss, let alone had someone tell them what it takes to be a good boss.
mm,
And I think that's one of the reasons why the industry can be so toxic and some of those egos can be so huge
right.
is because a lot of people have these positions thrust on them.
Mm,
They weren't trained up to it.
mm,
And I see this every day, just the small piece of it that comes across in how you present. Again, day before you didn't have to do this. And all of a sudden now they're going, okay, stand up in front of the client and tell them why they should spend their money on you. And all right, I guess I'm gonna do the things I've seen other people do. Uh,
mm.
were those things right? Who knows? Who knows? I remember I was in ACD and a new CCO joined the agency. It was their second day, and they we had a big deliverable we were presenting to the client over the phone, and the CCO said, "Well, yeah, I'm new. I want to present this work." They didn't know the work. They had just joined the day before, but they wanted to present it. Okay, here's not the best move in my opinion. I would say this is my team. Great to meet you. Take it away, guys. But here's the work. And this CCO proceeded to not only read all of the copy on the slide, they also read all of the copy on the comps on those slides. There was not a single printed word anywhere that did not come out of their mouth. It was an hour of excruciating pain.
I wasn't even
And
in
when
that
we were
meeting, and that's
done, I was
painful to
walking out
hear.
of the room. Your contact pain,
Yeah.
contact trauma.
Hmm.
I remember walking out of that conference room and a junior art director turned to me and went, "That was a really interesting way to present. I haven't seen that before." And you could hear the question in their voice. And I said, "Okay, time out. That's not a tactic. I don't I can't I'm not trying to badmouth our new boss, but I you can't walk away from here thinking that that's a thing that you do sometimes. Never do that. Here's why that happened, because they weren't familiar with the work. Here's what I would have done instead, which was set us up and let us present it because we were the ones who made it. How painful that was for all of us in there, that is how you know this is not what you should do. But there's dozens of people, hundreds of people every day who will see their boss do something like that and assume, I guess that's what I do now.
Mm. Why are we why and I say we, but why are we so bad at this? Like presenting. I mean, I've been in those rooms. I mean, it's a PowerPoint or a keynote presentation, not a PowerPoint read along, right? To which is what you just
Yeah,
talked about. But like, what is your
yeah.
thoughts on why we struggle with this? Like, I have my thoughts, but I want to hear what you think.
I think there's a number of things that contribute to where we're at right now, if you think of the typical agency presentation.
Yeah.
But if I take the question at face value, why do people walk in the room and read things? Why are you doing your best impression of an audiobook when I could do
Mhm.
this for myself?
Right.
It's nerves. The majority of it is nerves.
Okay.
That if I read the slides, if I default to the slides, then if this meeting goes wrong, it's not my fault. It's the deck. I just told you what was in the deck. If I treat this presentation the way that you should treat a presentation, which is that you, the person in the room, brings something to this meeting that is not in the deck already, it's on me if this doesn't work. Now there's a personal stake, and that is scary to people. It's really, really frightening. See it, it's very clear in virtual presentations. I talk to people about it all the time. I will say when you start a meeting through Teams or Zoom, whatever it may be, everyone always throws the slides up as quick as they can. It's like going, don't look at me.
Hmm.
It's the first thing they do. They never sit there and talk and try to just talk about what we're here for today and what we're, nope, got to put a slide up, got to get that thing there. Take the heat off of me.
Yeah.
Pay no attention to the man behind the PowerPoint.
Hmm.
And it's the same, it's coming from the same place to we're trying to duck the spotlight. It's uncomfortable to have that spotlight on us. And I think that in large part, that's where it's coming from.
Okay.
It is
All right.
so much harder for you to stand and deliver than it is to go, okay, let me just I'm just here to narrate what's going on.
Yeah. I also think you have to know your content. I mean, you got to really know it, and you got to believe in it, right? So those three things right
So
there.
those two things, yep,
Yeah. I think that
absolutely.
can go a
And this
long
is
way. Yeah.
and this is where the way that we build slides can also make it harder
Mm.
to show up as an actual person rather than a narrator. So in the book, maybe I shouldn't give it away. In the book, there's one of the literal chapters is how to stop reading slides, how to stop reading slides, how to stop reading your slides.
Hmm.
And the secret is stop overwriting your slides.
Yes. I just read
It's
that verbatim.
tremendously
Yeah.
difficult.
Hmm.
It's tremendously difficult for you to speak from the dome to speak as a human
Hmm.
when there's a set of words right here next to you, especially when those words were put together by the literal word experts that you work with in the ad agency. Those are all the best words that you could possibly use to describe this thing. But you can't use them because then you'd be reading them. So now you have to be aware of what those best words are while also making sure you don't say them or look at them while talking to a group of people and making yourself the center of attention, which most of us aren't comfortable doing.
That's a lot.
So there's, it's a ton. Oh, and by the way, if the words are there, I'm ignoring you anyway because I can read faster than you can speak. So I'm just going to read those. So there's there's all of these things that are contributing to the challenge of somebody walking in and being a good presenter. And I tell people constantly the prompt that I give myself anytime before I start a meeting is talk like you're talking to a friend.
Mm.
If I would never call up my friend and explain an idea by talking about the impact and culture that we're going to have. The zeitgeist is ready for this. Stop it. What are you doing?
Right.
It's just, all right. Explosions are awesome. Yes? Hold that thought. We're gonna set off, your logo in dynamite. Like this is talk like you would talk to a friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
The more clinical and formal we make these things, the harder it is to engage people. The more
Sure.
distance you create between your idea and the client. And it I point this out all the time. The greatest irony here is that everyone we're talking about trying to sell their ideas, these are people who are experts at convincing strangers they will never meet to part with their money for goods and services that they may not even need.
Mm.
You can do it with a billboard in a city you've never even walked the streets of. But when you wind up in a meeting
Yeah.
from some people you have a relationship with across the table, now you forget everything you know. All those best practices go out the window.
Mm.
Right? So all of the basic things that we know as creatives, okay, I should I should have one singular message, right? I should
Yeah.
talk about the benefits over the features. I
Hmm.
should create curiosity.
Hmm.
I should speak the language of emotion, right? I should spark an emotional response. We know all of this
Yeah.
stuff. And what is a presentation if it's not advertising for the ads that you're hoping to sell? So why are you all of these best practices that you know, they all stop outside the door of the meeting room. And what I've been doing for the last 6 years is basically helping people bring them inside.
Yeah.
Here's the
That's a
one
brilliant way to
medium that
look at it.
you've never practiced any of this with, right?
Yeah.
You know how to do it in a billboard, you know how to do it through a screen, you know how to do it in radio, but you've never
Mhm.
thought about how to apply it to a meeting room. Let me show you.
That's awesome. I reminded of this one, this scene in Raging Bull, which is one of my favorite movies. And have you ever seen the film? Okay. There's a scene in there where
I
Joe
actually
Pesci,
haven't. You made me realize suddenly that I've never seen it.
well, you're gonna probably gonna go back and watch this scene. So there's a scene where I think they're in De Niro's kitchen, they're in Jake LaMotta's kitchen, and Joe Pesci is explaining to Jake LaMotta, even if you lose, you win. Like he's explaining this title fight, right? When they were
Yeah,
filming that,
yeah.
Joe Pesci was struggling. He could say the words, but he wasn't believable. And Scorsese calls him over and says, "You don't know what you're telling him, do you?" And he's like, "No, I really don't." He's like, "Yeah, I can tell." So he didn't know what he was saying. He was saying the line, he was saying the words, even if you win, you lose. And
Yes.
if you still win, you win. And he had to explain it to him. After Scorsese explained it to him what was really going on, he's like, "Oh, okay, now I get it." They go and do the scene, nailed it. So to me, it's like,
Yeah.
know what you're talking about, right? Know what you're going in to talk about. And if you can, and the body language, and you can, if you're nervous and you got a flop sweat going, I mean, that's going to be bad if you're right. Like body language is 60%
And there's
communication, nonverbal.
it's so much of it. It's so much of it. And that's what makes the virtual presentations so hard, by the way, is that
Mhm.
all of the body language gets messed up.
Yeah.
And so where you were talking earlier about the people who show up in frame not great.
Yeah. Mhm.
And and what they don't realize is that that has an impact on not just the first impression. It's very easy to say to somebody, well, how you show up in frame is essentially like how you show up when you're dressed well for a meeting.
Right.
Okay, that's a great concept, but it goes deeper than that because I have I'm the result of millions of years of evolution, and I expect you to be talking to me eye to eye, even though we're doing this virtually. But people who haven't adjusted their webcam, or my favorite, people who have two screens and the camera's over here, and so they talk like this very earnestly to you for the entire meeting.
Seen it?
you're you're failing at this. You're not making the connection, and the brain recognizes it. It's fine that intellectually we say, okay, this is what's happening. They're not actually looking over my shoulder. Doesn't matter. It's still that much harder for me to get language from when I'm looking for the micro emotions in the face that everyone we are all programmed how to read.
Mhm.
We're not used to seeing it in a 2D surface. So now those signals our brains have to work harder to interpret. And these are the sorts of things that contribute to Zoom fatigue, where you've just been in meetings on your screen all day and you're like, I can't do another one of these. I'm
Yeah.
exhausted in a way that you wouldn't be if you were in person.
Yeah.
Because even when everything is set up as best it can be, the signals aren't the same. But it's a huge difference between
Mhm.
me looking like I'm talking to you right now
Mhm.
and me doing this for
Yeah.
the entirety of the interview.
Right. Right.
And people don't know it and don't think about it.
Hmm. What was give me an example of like the worst presentation you've ever done.
The worst one I've ever done. It's it's hard to pick just one. There are a lot that are terrible for different reasons. One of the ones that stands out to me, and it resulted in me unselling an idea.
Mhm.
I was an ACD and I was running a pretty big project, and it was a sponsorship with the Chicago Marathon. And we were telling the brand, look, we had this idea where people will be able to track their friends on throughout the marathon on Facebook. And then we're going to have some digital billboards. You can write a message on Facebook. It'll show up on the billboard as that person goes to run past it. It was cool. They liked it. We knew that in theory the tech would work, but no one had done this before.
Okay.
And so they approved the initial concept, and then I got super excited and dove into all of there's RFID tags, and we're making calls to and from things, and did it. And then in the next meeting, I get on the phone and I talk for 60 minutes straight about all of the technical detail behind this. And I don't think the client says a word. And when I got finished, there's a pause on the other end of the phone. And then the voice says, we just sort of assumed that you guys knew how to make it work. But I don't see our brand in here anywhere. I think we need to see more ideas.
Oh boy.
And I remember thinking, is it too late for me to crawl under the table in the fetal position? Like it was just crushing because all the work we'd done at that point just to get to this level, then we were all excited that the idea was approved. It was the one that we knew they should go with. They picked it. They agreed with us. And now I had just shot us all in the foot.
Mm.
And I basically had to beg them to let me bring the idea back. And they sort of said no, and we did it anyway. But that's one of the worst meetings. And I did so many things that we've kind of talked about already, right? I took myself completely out of it. I wasn't generating emotion in any way, shape, or form. I wasn't talking about what the benefits of this would be. I mean, that's what they were saying to me. I literally don't see the benefit in all of this technology that you just talked about. I just features, 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 features. It's like reading the back of the box to
Mm.
somebody. But at no point did I tell them how it was going to make their life better.
Mm.
And it was it hurt because I knew that I had screwed things up for everyone underneath me who was working on that project.
Wow.
And it has a happy ending where
Okay.
we scrambled for a week and we showed the benefit. And then I took a train up to the client's offices and walked in and I gave what at that point was probably the best presentation of my career. And when we finished, the person in charge said, "All right, where do I sign?"
Okay.
But it all hinged on that one meeting, and there was no need for that. There was no need to come
Hmm.
right up to the end of failure.
So what's the balance? Like what's the proper balance? I mean, is there I'm just trying to think like, you know, do you keep a little
Yeah.
mystery, in the presentation? Do you put it all out there? Do you want to be careful to not talk past the close, right? Because that's a thing.
Yes.
Where's the sweet
Yes.
spot?
Oh God.
Where's the sweet spot?
I've joked with people about seeing defeat from the jaws of victory, which is what I did in that
Right.
previous presentation I was talking about. But yeah, you'll see people go on way too long. I before I answer your question, another quick story. I was working with a client and the team brought two different sets of spots, two different campaigns. And we read the first campaign to the client and they cried. They said, this is the most important work we could ever do. This must get made. And I took the other set of scripts and I put them in my bag. And as I was
Good
doing
decision.
that, the art
Hmm.
director who'd worked on that second campaign went, we're not going to show them the other set. And I said, when the client cries, you say, thank you very much, and you leave. There's, we're good.
Hmm.
We don't need to muddy the waters here.
Uh-huh.
So it's absolutely true that there's an art to knowing when you're done. I think in terms of do you leave some mystery? How much do you say? Where do you draw that line? There's a couple different things to keep in mind. One is that the way I encourage people to think about a presentation, there are four questions that I have seen. Every presentation that's ever been successful, these four questions were answered, usually by accident and with a ton of bloated other information around them. But
Hmm.
if you can answer these four things for your client or even for your creative director, you've got a much better chance of getting approval. If you stick to the questions, it's still possible for you to say too much, but it makes it a little bit harder. Another thing to think of is when you're going to explain something, we often focus on the how instead of the wow.
Mm.
So I will tell people all the time, wow before how, wow before how. And what I mean is tell them what the thing is first. I don't actually want mystery. The mystery is in how it'll actually get made. I screwed up in that other meeting I described because it was all how. It was all here's the nuts and bolts and how part A is going to go into slot B.
No, wow.
But they didn't know what the hell I was talking about, right? There's this horrible habit we have of wanting to show our work. We're so excited about the way that this thing's going to come together. I figured it out. It can be done. And I think some of that comes because so much of what we do in advertising is try to find things that haven't been done before. And so when you crack it, you're proud and you want to talk about it.
Sure.
I also think part of the reason it happens like this is because the pure timeline, the idea was the thing you had a week ago. Everything you've done since then has been trying to figure out what that idea looks like and going to production and talking to media and making sure that you can actually do it. Getting legal not to stop you.
Mhm.
And so by the time you get to the meeting, those are all the conversations you've just had. And you feel like, okay, this is what I have to tell you about. We forget that to the client, this is all brand new. And because we focus on the how so much, you wind up in the same situation that I was in. And we do this constantly.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, the more you talk about the how, uh, the more you scare somebody. There's a desire sometimes, I think, from the
Hmm.
agency to go, no, 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 we've thought of everything. You don't have to worry about it. And the intent there is noble. I understand why. But it's sort of like if I walked up to you and went, "Hi, my name is Ben. I'm very honest. You can trust me."
Oh.
That's weird. Why'd you say that? Right? That's uh I
Hmm.
didn't I didn't not trust you until you said it. Now I have
Hmm.
questions.
Yes.
We're doing that same thing. Hey, client, here's this thing I want you to do. Nobody's done it before. let me tell you all the ways we figured it out. It's super complicated. I'm going to go through all the steps. They're not sitting there going, thank God this smart agency is working with me. They're
Right.
sitting there going, can't we just do last year's campaign? This is scary.
Hmm. Yeah.
So my approach is you start by telling them what the thing is and what it's going to do for them. That's the wow,
Mm.
right? So we're going to give people a way to communicate with their friends and families in a marathon, and you're going to be able to post on Facebook. Those messages are going to get seen right on the course as somebody goes to run by these digital billboards. And it's going to be awesome because everyone's going to know that your brand made this possible, gave them multiple moments
Yeah.
to cheer on their friends that otherwise they just have to stand in one spot with a cardboard sign for 5 hours.
That's a cool idea.
That's the wow. Doesn't If they want to know how I'm going to make it after that,
They'll ask.
they'll ask. And
Hmm.
then we can get into it. And by
Yeah.
the way, you don't have to get into all of it. Just give them the top line stuff. If they still have questions, you can ask further. But oftentimes you see some of the bloat in the deck and the overwritten stuff that winds up in there. It's all of the how-to behind it. It's all the mechanics
Yeah.
behind these ideas. Clients don't care. They don't care how it works. They just want to know that you've got it.
Yep.
So one of the things that I will tell people all the time, they'll say, "Oh, my client wants to know more about this." Okay, so then go a level deeper. They want to know more. Okay, you can go one more level deeper. No, they want to sit down with me and do, okay, at that point, it's not your job. You're a creative. You're not the developer. You're not a programmer.
Hmm.
You're not the person actually charting the media. At that point, I say, look, let's get your nerds and our nerds in a room and they can speak Klingon to each other. But for me to pretend that I'm going to be able to do the job you're asking, and frankly, for you to pretend like you're going to understand any of the answers you're going to get is
Hmm.
hysterical.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? In all of the years that I've been doing this, I think only twice has said, "Oh, good idea. Okay, let's get nerds together." Every other time, you see them relax and they just go, no, 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 it's fine. Like literally, they just want to know that at 3 a.m. when something goes and stops working,
Yep.
that you are going to sort it out and they don't have to get out of bed.
I'll give you
That's what's actually happening there.
I'll give you a great story. I worked for a newspaper for 17 years, and 2 of those years I went into sales. I went into outside sales. I just wanted the experience. I just thought, I don't know how this is going to connect,
Yeah.
but when I became a creative director and I had to present ideas, boy, did the sales stuff come back. But one of the things that I did, Ben, if I sat down with a client that I was meeting, they're assuming rightly that I'm coming in to sell them something. Okay. But what I did, no one told me to do. I just did this on my own. They said, so we want to talk about, our business. I said, well, let me be honest with you. I don't know if I can help you. And they were like, what do you mean? You're not, what do you mean? What? I said, I'm not sure if I can help you. I'm here to try to help you, but I need to learn about what you're doing, what your business, what your goals are. Oh my God, did that disarm people? Now we had a great
Oh,
conversation.
yeah.
I got all the information I needed. And I said, I'll tell you what, let me go back now. Let me distill all this and I'll come back in like a week. And my God. And then the one time, a couple times, not even one time, a couple times, I knew I couldn't help them. I knew I wasn't right. I sold a single sheet insert
Hmm.
program, or I mean a single sheet insert. So I wasn't a general ad in the paper. I was a very specific insert.
Yeah.
And I would say if I knew I couldn't help them, I wouldn't take the sale. I said, you know what?
Yeah.
This program isn't for you. And they're like, but you were here for 2 hours. You didn't make the sale. I said, I'm not here to make a sale. I'm here to help your business grow. And this product that I'm offering will not do it. And they were like,
Now, yeah.
mm-hmm,
Yeah. Now, that mindset that you just outlined
mm-hmm,
is the first step that I talk to people about when it comes to handling objections or conflict or questions in the meeting around your ideas. One
mm-hmm,
of the big mistakes that you see that results in a very defensive attitude, unintentionally,
mm-hmm.
conflict in the meeting, is that creatives will walk in, particularly creatives, will walk in the room and believe, well, the job is for me to sell this idea. No, it's not. Your job is to solve the client's problem. Now, you're a creative expert. You spent a lot of time on this. The strategist brought you ideas. You consulted with what accounts said. In your expert opinion, this idea is the best way to solve their problem. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it is.
That's right.
Maybe there's new information that comes up in the meeting. So the most important thing you can do is prove to the client in that moment that it's not you versus them, it's you and them versus their problem. You're on the same side of the table and the problem's over there. You have to demonstrate that.
Yeah.
And the kind of approach that you were outlining, where number one, it starts with, look, I'm not assuming I understand everything because you're a significant portion of the information here. So let's talk.
Yeah.
And then number two, when something came up for you to go, look, this isn't going to do it. Right? The number of times that I've been in a situation in meetings where somebody said, well, how did you know to stop the meeting? How did you know that you didn't want to present the third idea or the second? I said, because it became obvious that what was in the brief they gave us and what they're actually asking for are two separate things. Whether that's because we misinterpreted or whether it's because they didn't tell us the truth or they didn't know the truth themselves, not the point right now. The point is these ideas, not what they need. And by saying that, the growth in trust between the agency and the client, I mean, it was unreal, the relationship we would have after a meeting like that. I would never plan one of those. It's
Right. You
never
think my
good to
sales manager was
walk
gonna? You
in
think
and
my
find out that shit in the wrong direction.
what sales manager would say to a salesperson, "Hey, if you can't help the people, just tell them you can't help them." No, none. They're gonna be like, "You sell them something. I don't care what it is." Right? But to me,
Right.
I didn't come up
I
with
don't
all
care what
that.
it is. Give them something.
I didn't come up with all that baggage. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not going to help. If I can't help them, I can't help them. I'm going to tell them. So what these people would do a lot of times is they'd say, well, how can we work with you? I'd say, in 6 months, when you know where your customers are coming from and zip codes and all that kind of stuff, I'll come back and we'll do a plan. And 6 months to the day, that phone would ring and they'd say, we're ready. And I'd go back and I'd make the sale. And I'd walk in and he'd be like, hey,
Yeah.
good to see you. We know where everybody's coming from. Can you help us? I'm like, well, let me look. Yes, I can help you now. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things where, like, why don't more people just say what they mean or say what they believe and not try to just fake it, you know? Just be real, be
I
authentic.
I I, I think it goes back right. Well, but authentic is hard. Especially if you haven't seen it demonstrated for you.
That's true.
Authentic is really, really hard. I I think that I had somebody one time early on when I started code folks who stood up at the front of the room and gave phenomenal presentation. And I remember thinking, and this was early days of Sell It Great. I remember thinking, oh my God, what am I supposed to teach this person?
Mm.
And they sat down and immediately all the color left their face and they went, do you have a trash can? I think I'm going to throw up. And I went, that's what I teach them. Okay. They have no idea what they said. They have no idea. But like it went great because in a controlled environment for 5 minutes where you're the only one who talks, you got it.
Yeah.
Heaven help you if someone else had said something or if you've forgotten the line or an extra slide was put in at the last moment. And it's that level of fear that we have about looking dumb or being seen. It makes us do crazy things. I have seen the craziest moments I've seen in meetings have all come from somebody being afraid of saying that they were wrong or they didn't know something.
Mm-hmm.
The craziest stuff. I saw somebody who once tried to claim that a typo was a creative choice. And then since there weren't any typos in any of the other pages, it looks like they'd just forgotten to include their creative choice on every single page for the rest of the campaign. She's like, why didn't you just say, oh, sorry about that. We'll get it before this goes to print. Like what it's
Mm-hmm.
round one. Just be normal. What
Mm-hmm.
happened?
Wow.
So it's really an issue of fear. And I think I talk a lot about how the, the experience of presenting and selling ideas, there's a lot of similarities to dating. Right? If you look at what do people tell you all the time, just be yourself. Just get to say what's on your mind. If it's not meant to be, it won't happen. This is very simple. So why does everybody, when they go out, yeah, so I'm trying to figure out how to be the person you want me to be. I don't, do you want me to be taller, shorter?
Hmm.
How should I answer this question for you? We do the same thing in meetings. We are afraid to be seen. We're afraid that who we actually are is not good enough.
Mm.
And the only examples we have in many cases, and I'm talking specifically about advertising now, they're coming from people who've never really gotten the answer to these questions for themselves either. I got lucky. I had some mentors and some bosses early on who happened to be phenomenal presenters.
Hmm.
And I spent a lot of time sort of examining them under a microscope. I, I had a boss who walked into a meeting with Sony once and put his feet up on the desk and goes, "Can we all just agree that explosions are cool?" And I nearly pooped myself. I thought we were going to get fired. You can't say that. You can't. It's Sony. We can't do this. Are you? God, they're going to kill him. Then I'm going to be out on the street, and my family is going to go broke, and we're not even going to be living in a big cardboard box like a refrigerator box. It's going to be like a little one. This is doom. And about 15 minutes later, I realized, like, oh no, this meeting's going well. And
Hmm.
it's not like that happened a lot to me, but the fact that it even happened once in my career, there are people who've gone their entire career who've never seen that done in a room. But it was from seeing that that I went, all right, so maybe I can just show up and talk like myself. Is that a thing?
It's
I
a
guess I'll
thing.
try it, right?
Yeah.
And then when I truthfully, I got lucky. It worked the first time, and the second time, and the time when it didn't work, it was like, well, okay, maybe it's not the talk like a human thing. Maybe it's just something different I did that time. Because
Hmm.
the issue with this too is experience, like I said, is a terrible teacher. The lessons come out of order. You get no notes afterwards.
Right.
You don't, when you do something right in a meeting, you tend to walk away and go, either I'm amazing or the idea was brilliant. The second we walked in, I knew that was the one. And the truth is somewhere in between. Right? When you walk away and it didn't go well, it's always the client's an idiot or the idea wasn't strong enough. It's not usually, hey, what did I do that I should have done differently there?
No.
We're usually looking everywhere but the mirror.
And you always learn more from a
So,
mistake or a failure than you will from a success.
oh, absolutely. And the thing that I used to tell people was that if I'm really smart and I keep my eyes and ears open, I can learn stuff from other people's mistakes without even having to make them myself first.
Oh, that's a good one.
So
That's meta.
as
That's
much
very
as I
meta.
was
Yeah.
as but as much as I was looking at certain folks and going, okay, what are they doing that I can duplicate?
Hmm.
I was also looking at people and going, all right, when that meeting went poorly, why? What were the things that didn't hold up there? Because again, I was awful on my own. I knew that. So I already knew the mistakes I was making that I needed. I didn't know what to do instead, but I knew these things weren't working. What
Hmm.
was a mystery for me was what do I try differently? And if somebody else could run that experiment for me, then I didn't have to risk my own ideas on it. So I remember seeing people try to respond. I would watch my bosses who would be in many times experts and so smooth and so comfortable with the client, and then they would run into a problem and you would see it crumble.
Hmm.
The facade would break. They wouldn't have an answer, and you could see them tighten up. You could see them get stressed.
Hmm.
And I've done I've done martial arts for most of my life, and I had a teacher once who said, everybody looks the same when drowning. It
Mm.
doesn't matter if you're an Olympic swimmer or somebody who's never learned to swim. When you're out and when the strength has left you, they both look the same while drowning. And that phrase would come into my mind where I would see, a CCO who was totally just on fire 99 times out of 100 meetings. And then I would see that one meeting where they would run into an immovable object that they didn't have the answer to. And it was like, okay, that's that's what that looks like when they don't have the answer. Now, why didn't all the things they used that worked those 99 other times, why didn't it work this time?
Yeah.
Is the personality of the client? Is it because there was something else going on before we walked in the room? Was it the way that they delivered the work? Was it just a personality mismatch? What's happening here? And putting those things together was the start for me of figuring out how to become a better presenter because I couldn't stand that these ideas that I was getting high fives for inside the agency were dead on arrival when I went into the client meeting.
Mm.
The difference clearly was in that room. And so I really, really wanted to figure that room out.
I'll remember this one time I was at the National Addy Awards. I talked about this at the beginning with Rich Stoddard, right? So we're in Vegas. We're under the Eiffel Tower, and it's a mixer before the Addy Awards. And there he is. He's the president of the AAF at this
Yeah.
point, right? He's standing over there. A couple of people I was were with, they were like, "Oh man, it'd be so great to talk to him." I'm like, what are you afraid of?" They're like, "We can't go talk to him." You're gonna like this story. I go, what are you talking about? He's just a guy. Like they're like, you don't understand. I know, I do understand. Wait here. I walk over to him. I go, excuse me, Rich, I know you're having a conversation here. Your fan club is over here, and we just want to get a couple minutes with you when you're done talking. I'm sorry to interrupt, and we'll see you over there. 5 minutes later, he walks over, shakes everybody's hand, asks who they are, what they do, what work they do, sat with us, posed for photographs. It ended up the next day on the cover of the AAF, and the people that like said that we can't. I said, so now do you still think we can't talk to him? He was like taking photos with us. Then he goes, oh, we should do a photo where it looks like we're all just talking about all the cool stuff we just bought. You bought a boat, you bought a house, and then that's the photo we used. And it was great. I still have that photo. It was just so cool. But so to me, sometimes you got to take a risk, right? You got to sometimes take a risk. He could have been like, "Hey, punk, get out of here! Can't you see that I'm talking? What are you doing? Get out of here!" Like, but I just thought, okay,
Yeah,
what? Why not?
but there's
Took the shot.
I think there's take a risk. I think there's take a risk. I also think there's a truth there that people often forget when it comes to presenting to clients, which is that the important people have to put their pants on one leg at a time too.
Mhm.
There's so much in the mystique that we will build up before walking into the room.
Yep.
And the thing that I've found in most cases is that those people are really sick and tired of everyone talking to them being half scared and half afraid.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I just
Confident.
tell me the truth.
Hmm.
Just tell me what's the thing you want to say. Just say it. I'm not going to bite your head off. I'm not going to do whatever. Just would you just be normal around me, please? Right?
It
It's
scares
very
people.
lonely at the
Yeah.
top.
Yeah.
It's and and it's very isolating. And you get in these situations where people they will feel the energy. I'm getting a lot of like yes men around me. I'm getting a lot of this energy of people don't want to just give me everything's always great, it's perfect, everyone's a
Yep.
little bit fake. How much stronger is it then when you walk in the room and you're just you? So I have had so many times where people are terrified to talk to the president of the organization or the CMO or whoever it may be. And no, you should do the exact opposite. You should just walk in there and be yourself.
That's just all what I've always done.
They
I've
it'll be
always done that.
refreshing for them.
Yeah. I've always done that, and I've never had
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
fire. I've never had it go wrong. Like it just I think you're right. They do. They appreciate that. They just appreciate someone just, oh, someone's being real with me. Oh, someone's not intimidated by me. I don't know. I think you're onto something with that. They like that.
Right.
They definitely like that. Listen, oh my God, I have so many more questions and we are already almost at an hour. Can you believe that? Oh my God. Wow, Ben.
I just saw the time a second ago. It was like, I don't know how we got
Well, this is
there.
what happens when you attract someone that you're on the same wavelength, the same vibration. This is
Yes.
what happens. We could
Yes.
we could probably like keep
Yeah.
talking and go, you know what time it is? It's 5 in the morning. I have to actually go to work now.
I know.
You'd be like, wow, that really
Yeah.
felt
Yeah.
like an
Yeah. Yeah.
hour.
We would get there.
So, how would people, get in touch with you? What would if they wanted to work with you, or what is give me your website. I mean, obviously the book, Stop
Yeah.
Reading Slides, fantastic book. Just give me your contact info.
Sell it great.
Sell it great.
Sellitgreat.com
Okay.
is the easiest way to contact me. You can also stalk me very easily on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Same way. Sell it
Yep.
great. Those are the two easiest ways to do it. And then I am always happy to chat with people to see if I can solve their problems. And if I can't, then I'm not going to sell you anything, to your point.
Right. How about that? Like, wow. Um, this has been fun, man. I learned so much, and I just this is such a powerful topic because it's like we all have to present ideas, right? We all have to if we're working advertising marketing and we're presenting ideas, we're presenting concepts, we're at this a little bit selling ourselves, right, in those meetings, and
Yep.
I feel like so much of this is getting even worse. There's like more words showing up on slides now instead of less. It just seems that is not the way
Yeah.
to like you're going to sell your ideas by putting more words on your slide that you can read.
No, and I think too, as things become faster and faster, we have less time to perfect the deck. We have less time to prepare for the meeting.
Mm.
You really need to know what it is you should put your time into in order to make that meeting as successful as possible. And I often think about the fact that out of all the agencies that I've worked with and all of the decks that I've seen, I don't think there was a single one that I said, you need to change these slides to make them prettier.
Mhm.
Or listen, I don't like how you've written this description. We focus so much on the words and the pictures because that's where people's strengths are in the agency. You have copywriters and art directors, and we lean into our strengths, particularly when we're stressed and uncomfortable. But you could spend 10 years trying to improve what your deck looks like, and the growth would be imperceptible for your business win rate. You spend an hour thinking about, well, how can I communicate these ideas better? How can I be a more effective presenter and build trust with the client when I'm in a meeting with them? Man, you're gonna be head and shoulders above the people that you're pitching against. So for me, that's a big piece of this as well, is that this is one of the blank spaces where agencies can grab a massive advantage just because too many people are ignoring it for other shiny things.
Right, right. I agree with that. It's like almost like the afterthought. Oh, they do the creative, the work, the
Yeah.
campaign, the strategy, and then it comes to present that, and it's like almost like it's like an afterthought. It's like it's not given the same weight, and it really needs to be given even more weight, I think, than the work, in a sense.
Again, it's not the best idea that wins. It's the most persuasive argument. So
Mm,
it's great that you had that idea, but if you cannot convince them to go with it, what good does it do? And I think that a lot of the inertia in terms of how our decks are built and how they're structured and how we walk into those meetings,
mhm.
it organizes us.
By the way, I would be remiss if I didn't mention how much I love the design of this book. The cover, just the way it reads. You know what I mean? It's just so cool. Like the way you
So
structure it.
so
And
I want to give credit where it's due there. The cover is from a my very dear friend and designer Kelly Bartell, who does a lot of she helped build sort of the brand behind Sell It Great. And the interior is actually the same individual who did all of Cam's books.
He just told me that the other day. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
And it was funny because I said to Cam, what I really want is I said, people just don't read long form words anymore. I almost want this to be like designed as if it were a periodical, a magazine,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
call outs
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
things. And he
Yeah. Yeah.
goes, that's the
Uh-huh.
same exact brief I gave to my designer. And I went, all right, so who's the guy?
Which is cool. It's fun. It's fun to read. It's like you're getting like every page has like you read it, it's like, oh yeah, oh God, yeah. But it's still it's given to you in like a fun way. You know what I mean? Like some of the pages only have like one sentence on
Well,
them,
thank
which is
you.
like just fun. And the infographics are cool. So bravo on that. What's the gentleman's name? Is it Andy who did the cut? Who did
Andy,
this?
I'm blanking on his last name now, which is absolutely the worst. It's inside. I'm gonna check.
Go ahead.
Andy Lawrence.
There you go. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Have you
Yes.
read have you obviously you've seen Cam's new book Chaos, right?
Yep. I have a different version for most people because he sent me a sort of a proof copy to get
Mm.
my pre-read on it.
Yeah.
So mine has some differences,
Again,
but it is back there on the shelf.
again, the words are what matter, right? Like, I have the
Yeah.
version too with all the cool AI generated graphics, but really it's the words. That's really the important stuff. So, well, Ben, I appreciate this very much. I'm glad I got to talk to you.
Likewise.
I wish you well in everything you're doing with Sell It Great and the book. Um, this was fun. This was good. I really appreciate you coming
I
on and talking to me.
I had a blast. Thanks for having me on.
All right, man. Take care. Be well, all right?
All right, ad yackers. Hope you enjoyed it. Because we have many more great conversations planned and guests lined up ready to yak it up. Ad Yak is sponsored and produced by ASR Media. Theme song was written and performed by Dan Ross. Ad Yak is the official podcast of the AAF Greater Lehigh Valley Ad Club. Stay hungry, stay humble. Till next time.
This episode of Ad Yack is rated O for, oh man, that was good.